If you're watching this from Europe, good evening. If you're watching this from America, good morning. Of course, if you're watching this as I release it. Before I do commence and do begin, I just want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. We've smashed past 750 subscribers. Numbers don't mean too much to me as you will start to get to know me. For me, it's about the engagement, engaging with you guys, interacting with you guys. When I hear comments and read comments that I've been helpful and have taken on board the advice that I've given and they've implemented, that brings joy to my heart, because that is what this channel is about. It's about the community that we build together. As I've stated on many occasions, I'm not the finished article. I'm on track to become the finished article, just like you guys should be as well. And this is documenting my journey, giving you guys life lessons. As despite being a young man, I've gone through a lot. So this is what I would do if I was 18 again. Again, this is applicable to you if you're 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, even 22. I am, for context, 22 years old. I'm quite young, but I've gone through so many experiences as a young guy, so much trauma, so much experiences, heartbreak, where I believe I can provide a lot of value in this arena. But without further ado, let's get into the first point, and that is, if I could go back in the time machine to my 18-year-old self, I would give him a massive hug and just tell him that it's okay if you haven't got things figured out. Embrace the uncertainty. You know, one of the biggest mistakes that I made as an 18-year-old is thinking, God, I have to have everything figured out. I need to know exactly, pinpoint what my goals are. They need to be clear, they need to be defined. I need to visualize it in so much depth and detail. And by this age, I'm going to accomplish this. And I set these extravagant goals with very limited time frame, but no plan to achieve them. And even the careers that I wanted to pursue, or the specific endeavors that I was pursuing, some of them I made a U-turn very quickly, because I realized that perhaps it didn't align with my morals or values, and perhaps it wasn't within my interest, or because at the time I didn't know what my purpose was. And I'm going to make that point later on, because that ties in beautifully. But sticking on with this point, it's okay if you don't have it all figured out. You're not supposed to. You're 18 years old. This is what you have to comprehend. Time is on your side. I'm not saying time isn't on my side, but specifically if you're 18. You could behave like an idiot and people will forgive you. You're 18. This is the time to ascertain your purpose. Try new things. You ascertain your purpose by looking at your interests. And of course, your interests may change as you age, which is very normal. But what are your current interests? You know, try new ideas, try different models. That way you can get a feel and understanding of what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. And that is absolutely fine. Even if you spend and invest 6 months of your time, a year of your time into a specific model or a specific project or interest, and it doesn't work out, who cares? You're a young man. This is the time to try things out, not when you're 40 and you're happily married with 2 kids. That's the worst time to try new ideas and experiment. This is the time to experiment. But you don't have to have it figured out. Don't sit there and stress and contemplate and, oh my God, my life is over. That girl that I really loved and I had a massive crush on, and she doesn't want me back, and she has a long-term boyfriend. Forget about all of that. And, oh, my life is over. I can't get my dream girl, and I don't know what my career path's going to be. And my friends are successful, and there's some guys out there on the planet that are 18 that are making multi-millions. Look, I'm going to make this point later again, but I'll make it briefly. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, comparison is the thief of joy. I had a bit of a brain freeze there. But the reason why I say that is because, and I used to make this mistake, I used to always compare myself to other people that were my age. And what you have to understand and truly realize is everything is circumstantial. So your circumstances are different. You don't know their upbringing. Your upbringing is different to you. You don't know their network or connections. You don't know what their financial situation is. You don't know the region they grew up in. You know, so there's so many different factors that are in play here that you sitting here and comparing yourself, for me, is preposterous. Once you really zoom out and understand that, you realize it's asinine. There's no point, because the variables are not the same. How can you compare? What you're doing here is you're comparing apples and oranges. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot compare apples and oranges. You look at a giraffe and you look at, for example, a monkey, and you start getting angry at a giraffe because the giraffe is not swinging from branch to branch. Well, of course not, because they're designed to do different things. They're at different stages. It doesn't make any sense. You're comparing two different things that are not completely alike. They have different circumstances, different factors, that are growing up in different environments. So stop comparing yourself. And that ties in beautifully with the fact that you need to embrace uncertainty, but understand that you don't have to have things figured out. It doesn't give you the license or the excuse to muck around. As I said, try new ideas, experiment, but don't be disheartened. Don't stress if you don't have it figured out. Go easy on yourself. You're 18. This is where you're entering into the very, very early stages of adulthood. You're a baby. You're a child. This is what you have to truly understand. And now moving on to point 2, it's very self-explanatory. And it's not for me personally. It's not the fact that I never took my health seriously. But I want you guys to go a step further than what I did. Not only prioritize your health, but elevate into the upper echelon. Take it to the next level when you're 18. And what I mean by that is, I would say track your calories. Tracking my calories is only something that I've done in the last 6 months. I wasn't doing this at 18. At 18, it was willy-nilly. I'd still have chocolate bars, crisp packets and sweets, and I'll still drink alcohol here and there, and I'll drink Coke and Sprite and fizzy drinks, and I would eat whatever I wanted. And look, at age 18, you could probably get away with the same and not look like crap because you're young. So biology is on your side, and as it will be throughout your 20s. But you need to get into the good habits today. Because I always hear people say this, and they say, oh, I'm only 21, I'm going to enjoy and go nightclubs and get pissed every weekend. That is absolutely fine, because that's your prerogative. And they say, oh, when I'm 30 and 40 and biology is not on my side and my looks are declining, that's when I'll practice good habits. It doesn't work like that. You know fully well, as you would have watched this channel on a continuous basis, you understand that these things take time. So, and as well as that, you need to get into good habits from an early age. You can't just overnight flick a switch and your habits change. You understand that with things like pornography addiction, so let's not even go there. You need to build good habits from an early age, and that's why I implore you, I stress from an early age, the earlier you can begin, the better it will be. It's only going to be conducive and advantageous for your future health and your future self, and your future self is going to be very grateful that you're taking and practicing the good habits now. So prioritize your health, take the gym seriously, track your calories if possible, limit processed sugar. If you can eliminate processed sugar, I know it's very difficult because every single item, pretty much 85% of items in a local supermarket has some sort of processed sugar. It's very difficult. So I know it's almost an impossible task to just eliminate processed sugar in its entirety, but if you can at least limit it to a level and cut the alcohol, or at least minimize it to a very low level. I mean, I've cut alcohol completely, and you can avoid the vapes and the cigarettes and the pornography. I promise you, the head start you're gonna have, my goodness me, the head start you're gonna have. This time in 10 years, you're gonna be an absolute beast. Number 3, change your relationship with time. I've spoken about this concept previously on another video. Change and alter your relationship with time. What I mean by this is this. When I was 18, I set these extravagant goals that by this age, I must accomplish this. And when I didn't achieve that goal, I was so disheartened. I felt like such a loser. But what you have to understand is setting goals is perfectly natural, and it's something that I absolutely recommend, and it's a very positive thing to do. But change your relationship with time, because plans can change. You know, we had a pandemic 5 years ago, nearly 5 years ago. So things can get in the way, obstacles can get in the way. As long as a goal is in sight, you perhaps set a goal that you'd like to achieve. Don't set a specific time to achieve it. Just have the goal in place that I will achieve this, ideally by this time frame, but it's not the end of the world if I don't achieve it by this time frame. Understand that there's no rush to become rich. There's no rush to become jacked. There's no rush to accomplish whatever goal you have. Now, it's different if you want to, perhaps you've got, family members that might be, terminally ill, and you want to treat them and give them certain gifts. That's absolutely fine, and perhaps there might be a bit of urgency there, but a lot of these goals, there's no rush. Change your relationship with time, and if anything, the more that you rush, the more that you're susceptible to get rich quick schemes, and you might throw a lot of money into stocks and cryptocurrencies. I mean, I lost 20 grand in cryptocurrencies, right? I'm just going to put that right out there at the age of 19, 20. So that should put you into this. When I say that I've had experiences, and that's a story time for another day, and that should put everything into perspective for you. That should put everything into perspective for you, because you have such a desire, this desperation to become successful. You're more susceptible to losing money even quicker, and ironically, that sets you back further So it's completely and utterly counterintuitive. Again, it's that fine balance of not investing too quickly, as in get rich quick schemes and desperation, but at the same time, it's not a license to muck about. So have the urgency to a relative extent, but there's no rush. Change your relationship with time. If you become a millionaire at 35, who cares in comparison to 25? If anything, ideally, you want to be successful at 35 in comparison to 25, because at 35, you'll be more prudent and more wise, and you'll manage your finances a lot more effectively. And you can end up, making better decisions with your spouse and your children, and just better overall decisions. And by then, maybe your habits and your addictions would have been eradicated by then as well. So just overall, the later the better. Of course, there's always a sweet spot, but just change your relationship with time. Have a good and positive relationship with time, and understand that things will fall into place nicely. But at age 18, you're a child. Number 4, mention this as I alluded to earlier in a video. Comparison is the thief of joy. As I've already touched upon it, I'm not going to stay too long on this point. You get the gist by now. Comparison is the thief of joy. It truly is. At age 18, I compare myself to every single 18-year-old possible. You'd go on Instagram on the Explore page. You'd go on stories, and this guy's in Dubai, this guy's in Abu Dhabi, this guy's in North Africa, this guy's in Los Angeles, and he's on a jet ski, and he's flying in a private jet, and you're here in your mum's basement. Bro, it happens. It happens. Brother to brother, you sit there and you think, where did my life go wrong? Because you're comparing yourself, as I alluded to, circumstances, different factors. I mentioned the point that you should be angry. You shouldn't be content or satisfied. And that is absolutely true. Don't be content. But don't get disheartened that at age 18, that another 18-year-old has achieved something else, because you don't know the background. You don't know how they've achieved that. Have they even achieved that? I'm not saying it's disingenuous. I'm saying we don't know the situation or the story. So getting bogged down, disheartened, for me, is a waste of energy and a waste of time. Change your relationship with time and stop comparing yourself to other people. Very cliche, I know, but always compare yourself, if you are going to compare, to the person you were yesterday. Number 5, already alluded to this, already mentioned this, but try new ideas, ascertain your purpose. But if you don't ascertain your purpose at age 18, don't become disheartened. You hear a lot in the self-development space on YouTube. Discover your purpose, find your... Yes, absolutely. Every human has a purpose. Every young man wants to find their purpose. No one wants to sit there and go, my purpose is watching Netflix, watching pornography, hunchback like Notre Dame, and eating junk food. That's not a purpose. You want to be fulfilled. You want to actually do something that stimulates your brain in a positive way, of course. And you only get there and you only discover your purpose by trying new ideas. And as I said earlier, you can try something for a year. It might not work out, but who cares? You're a young man. This is the time to experiment. This is what I would tell myself. And I'm actually very proud that I did exactly that at age 18. I invested and threw money in things that I knew that I could get away with at age 19. I tried new business models. I tried this, I tried that. I educated myself in different sectors and various industries. Why? Because it's knowledge. It's knowledge. I realized, okay, this is not for me because it doesn't suit my personality. No problem. No problem. At least I've discovered that that's not for me. So I've narrowed it down. What could possibly be my purpose? And that is how you ascertain your purpose. Is you discover and you try new ideas, you try new things, and eventually, overnight, you'll find it. But you only get there by trying new things. And at age 18, that is a perfect time to try new things. And number 6, this might be a little bit sour for some of you young guys, maybe even older guys watching. But at this young age, including me, we have to understand and realize that most of the relationships that you have, whether it's friendships or girlfriends or boyfriends, some of you guys might play for the other team, and that's not an issue at all. Whatever relationship you have, you must understand that the likelihood of that relationship lasting for the rest of your life is extremely unlikely because, well, it's self-explanatory. You move to new cities, new countries, new job opportunities. As you grow, sometimes you might diverge, they might end up having different interests. Maybe your values change as you age. When you were 18 compared to 18-year-old Ken, in comparison to 22-year-old Ken, we don't think 100% the same. Yes, there are some similarities in terms of maybe some core beliefs, but sometimes you make a U-turn on certain beliefs and certain certain values that you hold, so to speak. Some of them are still the same. So that's what you have to understand. And as friendships, that's what happens. I'm not saying that friends that you have now won't be your friends when you're 60. They might well be, but there's a possibility that you might grow apart. And it's the same for girlfriends. You know, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer and say that it's not going to work out, but there are stats that something like over 90% of relationships where they get together before the age of 30, there's a 90% chance that it won't last for the rest of their lives, which I think is a sad indictment, but that is just the reality of the society that we live in. So don't shoot a messenger. That is just how reality is. So I would say don't emphasize and say this has to work, and if this fails, my heart's going to get broken and I'm never going to find the one again. I've been there too. I've had one-itis. I've had crushes. I've had relationships where I thought, yes, this is it. I'm going to get married to this person, and it capitulates and falls apart and you're heartbroken. But this is the reality. You live, you learn, and you end up getting stronger, and you just have to embrace the uncertainty, embrace the strength, and understand that your best days are yet to come. You're an 18-year-old man, a 19-year-old man. Your best days are yet to come. Don't get bogged down. Things will get better. Things will get brighter. So I know a bit of a lengthy video in comparison to the other videos I'll make. Again, just final thank you. Final thank you for smashing past 750. Next target is 1K. We're going to be edging closer, so that should be good. But again, engagement. Leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going. Constructive criticism is always open. Let's have a discussion. Smash the like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see all of you guys for my next video. Peace.